We should have actually. Oh, well, too late now. We are live. Spencer Lazar MMA interviews live with the Monsoon, Lorenz Larkin.
What's up?
Big announcement today, buddy. Congratulations. Got a title fight versus Douglas Lima June 24th, Madison Square Garden.
Yes, man. I'm pumped.
Did you expect? I mean, obviously there's been all this back and forth on all the signings, but I mean, what were your thoughts when you got offered a title fight right after doing so, I guess, is my first question.
You know what? I didn't even know, man. I didn't even know it was gonna be like that. I thought it was I thought I was gonna get, I don't know, somebody else. You know what I mean? It's everything was a total surprise, but it's just great, man. You know, it's just everything worked out how, the best way it could, and evidently, Bellator knows what type of stock I bring and what type of asset I bring to put on a fight like that for a pay-per-view card, and it's one of their I believe they threw one pay, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. That was me tweeting you. It's their what?
I believe they threw one pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, did it get canceled for some reason? And I think it ended up on free TV for some because they lost.
However, if this is like the first one, it just shows, like what type of regards, I hold in their thoughts, you know what I mean? And to have me on the pay-per-view card, I'm just pumped, man, all the way around. And it's Madison Square Garden is dope.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever set foot inside that arena? Obviously has a lot of history.
So a lot of things are changing for the Monsoon.
So let's talk about the signing before we get back towards really the specifics of the fight. You obviously were going back and forth a little bit with the UFC. I understand they had an option kind of to match your contract. What made you Bellator over the UFC?
No, they didn't have the option because it was past the 90-day period after my fight. So there was no option, it was just, they got back to me months after my fight, to come with the deal, which was not too long ago. And, I've been talking with Bellator and everything was just organic, and we were just clicking on all pages, and I really felt like they wanted me there. You know what I mean? It wasn't just for whatever, just to have me a part of the roster. They wanted me there, and that's what it boils down to.
What was said? What can you tell us about that conversation that showed that to you? What were the differences that they wanted me versus the UFC did?
Well, the UFC's contract, it was just kind of like a how would I say it wasn't like a let's work something out, in a sense, it wasn't like, let's do something that's best for both of us. It was just kind of like a take it or leave it. Like I hate to say it, but that's what it was, and that's the truth. It was just, take it or go about your business, and that's not what I'm trying to hear. I want to be like wherever I go. I'm an asset to an organization. You know what I mean, and that's what I want to feel like. So that was a deal that was for them, and I just declined it, and I decided to go with Bellator. Everything on the Bellator end was more welcoming. It was let's work together, and put something together in this deal. So everything was just working back and forth, and it was really good. It was just a lot of respect, in talks.
What with the UFC, a lot of times I saw over the last couple months them promoting George Masvidal, who I think is a great fighter, obviously deserves it. He's been around the block and more than deserves it. You guys are two of the more underrated fighters, but fact is you beat him. And I felt like there was, obviously they took you off the rankings and, all this stuff there's no promotion of you whatsoever. I mean, is these things that are going through your mind during the process for deciding where you're going to end up?
You know what? It's just one of those things where it gets kind of gimmicky, in a sense, man. And it's whack that it's like that, but that's what it is, and you know, I got nothing but love for Masvidal, and I'm glad he's getting the attention that he deserves. But he wasn't getting that attention a while ago, and the whole thing that changed that brung him into this light, is talking a little bit of shit. You know what I mean? He's still the same fighter. His fighting style's not changed. He's still exciting. It's not like all of a sudden he got exciting and now the whole fucking spotlight's on the dude. It's gimmicky shit. It's just and he just had to talk a little bit of shit. He talked a little bit of shit to Cowboy and made it known, and now all of a sudden, boom, now everybody knows Masvidal. And don't get me wrong, dude. Like I'm happy for him. I'm pumped that he's getting attention. But is that the point of time that we're in? You have to talk shit to get a name about yourself because his style, his everything about him hasn't changed. He just talked a little bit of shit, and now all of a sudden he's that dude, which is cool. If that's what helps, and that's what helps, and that's what got him in a better position. But that was never. That's not me. I don't need to talk shit. At the end of the day, you know, if I don't have no personal anger or personal, you know, feelings about a certain dude that I'm fighting, I don't need to talk shit. I'm gonna see him in the cage in 2 months, and I'm gonna be able to do whatever I want to do. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no need for all the gimmicky type shit. It's cool for some guys that's just what they've done from the get go, and it's cool. But it's a part of fighting, and I like to watch it myself. But I just don't feel like everybody has to do that just to have a name in the sport.
Yeah.
I just it's ridiculous to me in a sense that that's what you have to do. Like this is like it's getting to the point in UFC like that's what you have to do. You got to talk shit and to get some buzz around you.
It's so safe to say that that's never going to be your MO, even if really starts to be like, look, if somebody comes to you says you got to do this, I mean, is that just something you're just like, no, that's not me, and I'm just going to go out there and fight hard, and that's
Oh
it?
yeah, that's just it. Unless like me and the dude just don't like each other. Like don't get me wrong, I'll talk some shit if I don't really like the guy. But if I got no issue with the dude, it just
Have you
we're gonna put on.
have you ever fought somebody in that situation? Because I can't remember.
No, luckily I haven't got like a one of those dudes that like get all fucking crazy at me or whatever. So I don't know, but if I really didn't like a guy, then yeah, I would. It would probably be a lot of shit talking, but I never had an issue. I just tend to make the fight exciting itself. I want to be known for the guy that every time he gets in there, it's exciting. You know.
And I'd say Douglas is the same way. I can't remember him ever really engaging in any of that. He's a respectful, full-on martial artist, obviously a great fighter, a big guy, but you're not, that's not unaccustomed for you to fight someone bigger than you, so to speak. So talk about the matchup versus him. He didn't look so good, and then obviously came back and got that knockout on Koreshkov and got the belt back. So, talk about him as an opponent and what your expectations are come June 24th.
Man, I got nothing but respect for Lima. He's a beast, and he's has a belt for a reason, and he's coming to bring it just like I am, and I'm pumped that we're on that card just to show the world what Bellator 170 division is, and what type of fight we're gonna put on in the Garden. It's gonna be crazy, man. Because I know I'm coming in there guns blazing, man. I'm coming to take the belt. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he's gonna be training to keep that belt. But this is gonna be one of the best fights of my life, man. This is like a shot that I've been training for I don't know how long to get.
For me, I don't see why you guys wouldn't be like the main event. I mean, to me, as a title fight, and then and Chandler as well. You guys, to me, it's like those are the main and the co-main event. That's just how my brain works. I'm fine with the fights they put together and the older guys, the legend fights, so to speak. A little bit of an issue with them being the main event. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm happy. I get to see all these fights. It's great, but it's just kind of weird for me. It doesn't. I can't fathom why you guys aren't, the main event, being 5-round fights, title fights, and whatnot.
Hmm. Well, I think it's just the Fedor's Fedor. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's accomplished so much, and that name just I me truthfully, even being selfish, being like, yeah, I want to be at the main event. I can see Fedor being, at the beginning of the card or something like that. And I'm anxious to see that. I'm anxious. It's like in a sense, I agree with you, but in a sense, I don't because that if Chael and Vanderlei didn't have that fight on Tough, you know what I mean, and they really wanted to get at fight each other, then I wouldn't be that interested in the fight. But since I did see the fight, and they were really going at it, these are two fights that I want to see. And Chandler, he brings it, man, and his fights are exciting too, man. So, I'm just happy that the whole card is stacked. Like I can't really look at the card and be like, oh, this is gonna be a dud fight. You know what I mean?
Do you really like? Are you anxious to be kind of that face of Bellator? Because speaking of Chandler, we've seen him very much a face. Douglas has been a champion. He's been one of their better fighters, but he's not really, out there being a face of Bellator. Is that something that you have on your agenda and you're interested in being?
Yeah, man. I'm excited just to take part in this company, man, and I feel like they're anxious to have me a part, and really utilize me. I was always willing to work. I want to get put to work. Let me do some stuff, but I just never got the chance in the past. But past is the past, and now the future is looking bright. And I'm pumped to be just doing whatever to help out the company.
We've seen Rory, of course, come over. I mean, I would say that their best division is welterweight right now. Their deepest division, by far. I could rattle off, 6 names at least of guys who can really compete at a very high level. How excited are you to test yourself in that division? And your thoughts on some of the upcoming fights? We've got Rory and Daly. Paige is there. Chidi yourself, and have trained with him a little bit. Even he's in there. Koreshkov, of course, as well.
Yeah, well, as far as for me, there's a lot of those matchups that are nice. Chitty, I train with Chitty, so I don't I'm not gonna fight him. You know what I mean? There's enough food out there for both of us.
Plus,
But
about maybe, right?
you said what?
Oh, that's what everybody says. It's the
But
belt.
you know, there's a bunch of tough matchups, and I'm anxious to see the Rory and Daly fight. I'm anxious to see the MVP and Anderson fight, the Derek Anderson. I know Kurshkov is I believe he's hurt or something like that. Man, at the end of the day, whatever fights, that's just gonna make this promotion. Whatever fights are just gonna add to this promotion, man. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about making exciting fights, and I just want to build this company now that I'm a part of it to whatever potential I could bring it to.
I know that. What was I going to say?
Yeah.
Had something good too. Um, drawing a blank. We'll talk about, you're obviously going out to New York, so you're gonna do some media and stuff this weekend, and obviously a lot leading up to the fight. Um, that's something that could be different for you as well. I mean, talk about that and your training, balancing all that between that.
Yeah, I'm pumped to be going out to New York and doing the press conference, and then from there going to Chicago. But it's a big change for me, man, and just everything's just kind of happening, and just kind of like a whirlwind, and I'm just taking it for what it is, and I'm just excited to be knocking out all these things. The good thing is I'm knocking out a lot of these things before, I started camp, but this is in the beginning of camp,
Yeah,
so
you've got a lot of time before the fight. It's nice.
yeah, yeah. So I'm getting to knock out a lot of this stuff before, so that's a really good thing too.
I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say you work really hard on your ground. We still haven't seen it, in the octagon in the UFC, but now you're in this division that we just spoke of, all those guys. None of them, except with the exception of maybe Douglas, I mean, are really like into fighting on the ground.
Hmm.
And even he has lately been doing a ton of stand up in his fights. So, I mean, is that something you're excited about too? I mean, just the fact that it's all these strikers as opposed to guys who are going to try to hold you down.
You know what? It doesn't really matter to me. I've been working on my ground, and I believe I'm fairly decent. He said hi. He said hi.
I could see her, like, I could barely see her checking herself out in the mirror in the
Oh
background.
yeah. No, but I consider myself fairly decent on the ground. A lot of guys that I go with, think I'm pretty good. But anyway, I'm anxious. I'm just. It doesn't matter if I go with the guy who's really good on the ground or not. If I get put in that situation, I'm really ready to test the waters and really display my jujitsu. You know what I mean?
Do you expect Douglas to? I mean, obviously, we know the fight starts standing, but do you expect him to kind of want to take it there? Maybe, after feeling, especially seeing your speed and your power. Or, I mean, where are your biggest advantages in this fight?
I'm not sure if he's gonna take it to the ground. I wouldn't put it past him. I'm thinking that he's gonna be an all around, well-rounded fight. But I don't know. I think my advantages is you know I'm just kind of unpredictable, and that's kind of how I've always been. So a lot of people can train for me. But at the end of the day, there's only one of me. And my style is pretty hard to mimic. I would think so. But it's just my thing is it's hard to my style is really hard to mimic because there's been times in the fight where I've just thought of something and I just did it. You know what I mean? It's not something I've been working on or anything like that. I would just bing, it comes in my head and I'm just like, oh, I should try it, and I try it. So those are the type of things that guys have to deal with when they fight me. You know what I mean?
When you took the last fight against Magny back in the UFC, you chose not to renegotiate, right? I mean, did they come to you and offer anything, or what was that sort of scenario? Because you ended up going into that fight without a contract and kind of rolling the dice in that regard.
Yeah, so with that fight, it wasn't that I didn't choose to renegotiate or didn't choose the what happened was they offered me that fight. I was on my third fight. This would have been my fourth fight, Magni. They came to me with a new deal. And that new deal to me was a slap in the face. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. And it was pretty much just a slap in the face deal. And I decided no, that deal is not nowhere near what it should be. And it was in a way disrespectful, you know what I mean? So I didn't know what they were going to do. So then they told me that I can fight out my contract if I wanted to. I could take the fight and see how it goes from there. So in my head, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't thinking about, leaving or anything like that. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll do this fight, and then I'll show them what's up, and then we'll talk, And after that fight, it was just it was flatline. You know what I mean? I didn't really talk to them until much, much, much later. Months and months and months later down the line. So
Weird.
yeah, so it just pretty much summed up. Like it was. There's not really that much want for me or interest in me. So if it's business, it's business.
I know you probably don't want to get into specifics, but can you tell us, was the Bellator deal also more lucrative, as well as that feeling, of course, of being wanted? Was it also more lucrative for you?
Yeah, the all around contract was more lucrative, for from Bellator than UFC.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say? Definitely excited to see this fight June 24th.
I'm pumped, man. If you guys, well, you guys never bought a Bellator pay-per-view because I guess they never had one, but trust me, buy this pay-per-view. I'm me and Lima. You got to do is look at my fights and look at Lima's fights, and it speaks for itself. You know what I mean? Like this fight is gonna be something, and it's gonna be something big, and that's why everything's been going crazy today for me, and all these talks have been about this pay per view. So it's gonna be something for really good for the sport. It's just gonna. I feel like the pay per view is gonna do really good numbers.
Definitely excited for it. Thanks for taking the time. And everybody watching, obviously look for more videos with Lorenz leading up to this fight. Hoping to do another documentary if we can get Dennis out here.
Yeah.
Maybe get Boss Hog a cameo.
Yeah, he'll probably be up there. My guns won't be in the documentary because you can't have guns in New York. So
All right, man. Well, congratulations. Definitely excited for you in the future, and we will talk to you soon.
cool, cool, cool. Look at my mink blanket. It's mink.
He doesn't know now.